I am a phoenix, out of ashes I rise. Wings may be torn, still I can fly above.
Welcome back to Bible with the Bros, Young Kings Edition. I'm again here with the Young King himself, OJ, as my guest. Last episode, we introduced a new series called The Homecoming Experience, Identifying the Prodigal in Us, exploring the redemptive story of the prodigal son in Luke 15 through the lens of real life, real growth, and real struggle from the Bros perspective. In our last episode of Presence Over Provision, we talked about the shift. The shift is the moment in the story, but in many of our lives, we begin to prioritize what God provides over what God is. In this episode, we're going to talk about a phase we are all familiar with, called I'm grown. Together with the young King Oscar, we're going to explore when self-sufficiency felt like strength, but ultimately led to a breakdown. First off, let me read Luke 15:13 through 16. Not long after that, the younger son got together all he had, set off for a distant country, and there squandered his wealth in wild living. After he spent everything, there was a severe famine in the whole country, and he began to be in need. So, this is number 15. So he went and hired himself out to a citizen of that country who sent him to the fields to feed the pigs. He longed to fill his stomach with the pods that the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything. So before we get into the conversation, I want to point out again three things. Number one, growing up is a natural progression of life. I don't want you all to listen to this and then be like, well, Tyrese said I shouldn't have to grow up. I should stay at my mom's house until I am 70 and it's time for me to go see the Lord. That's not what I'm saying. Growing up is a natural progression of life. You're not meant to stay a kid forever. But fruit picked out of season is bitter. The spirit of I'm grown isn't really about maturity, it's about pride. It's that voice that says, I can do life better without you than with you. And that's where self sufficiency stops being a strength and starts becoming a burden. Oscar, when you hear these verses, what hits you the most about where the sun ends up, not just physically, but emotionally?
Kind of hits deeper when you look into the emotional factor. I always kind of look more inside a person than the outside, but that feeling of I'm so independent I could do it on my own, and then realizing that you're not as stable as you thought.
Yeah.
You know that'll kill your pride times 10.
Yeah.
Dang, maybe I do need help.
Yeah.
I hate feeling that way still to this day. Yeah.
I feel that. I feel that. I moved out at 18 years old. And I remember when I was talking to my mom about moving out, she told me, I don't think you're ready to move out, but I'm not going to stop you. Fast forward, she was right. I definitely was not ready. I definitely got my car. I had a first car payment. I got my car repossessed, I think, within the first year. And I was just looking for a reason to go back. Right. My dad ended up having a stroke, and I used that as an excuse to go back. But really, I was not. I was like, the place I moved in didn't work out. I was at my girlfriend's house more than I was at anyone else's house, which in itself, as a Christian, probably not the best spiritual growth,
Right.
thing to do. But it's interesting because then when it came time for me to fully move out, I knew what I needed to know, because I was actually ready to do it. When is a time in your life, and we're talking about pride here. Can you think of a time when pride or the feeling like you had to prove something pushed you to make a decision that later affected your spiritual life, turning what felt like a blessing into a burden? We talk about pride now. We know we got some experience with that.
Yeah, we got a lot. I'll talk about something like more recent. When I was going through my little depression of a phase, I was getting tattoos. A lot of my every one of my tattoos means something about peace.
Yeah,
And so in me getting my tattoos, I'm like, okay, I feel new. Like
yeah.
I have this on my body that I'm at peace with myself. But being at peace with yourself does not mean you're at peace with the outside world, you
Mm.
know? And
Or with
so
God.
yeah, either both of them. And so I have all this written on my body, but I have these people around me that are like, okay, well, didn't you let this person do this to you that day?
Mm.
why didn't you do nothing to stop them?
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, I could react, but let me not. And then you have another person in your ear, and then it eventually turns into a group of people talking about some. Why didn't you stop this person? Why
Yeah.
did you let this happen to you? Like, you look soft.
Yeah.
I
Ooh, the
know I'm not.
soft world.
Yeah, I know I'm not soft. I've
Yeah.
been on this earth 19 years, and I ain't never been soft one of them. And so it kind of just pushes you to just be like, okay, well, I'm so soft. What are y'all gonna do about it?
Yeah.
And you start to, what the youngins would say, crash out over it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
I crashed out. And so it got to a point where it's just like, okay, you're crashing out for what? You're trying to prove yourself to a bunch of people that don't know the real you. And you've marked the outside of your body now. You know what's on the inside of you, that you're at peace. You don't have to be this person that you were a year ago before you met Christ. So now it took it back to a point. Like I had to recenter myself and be like, okay, I know I'm not this. I know who God made me to be. Well, I don't know exactly who He made me to be. I have a plot of what He made me to be,
Yeah.
but I know who I am at 19 years old right now. And it just took a lot of my pride to be like, okay, y'all win.
Yeah.
I'm cool with being me. Y'all win that. I won't argue no more.
Mhm. There's so much to touch on with your answer.
Yeah.
I want to touch on the soft feeling, especially when it comes to pride. I believe, first off, it's a sign of immaturity. I understand this. I will state that. So we're not going to deny that for anyone who's listening. It is a sign of immaturity to not want to be considered soft. Um, First off, I shouldn't care how you consider me because I understand that if you push me, you'll see who I am.
Right.
But the idea
You know.
that you think this of me,
Hmm.
I think hurts the pride of the man.
Right.
And it's kind of like, for those who are listening, this is kind of off script, but for those who are listening, how, and I'm going to ask you this question because you've been through it now, right? How do you help those who, how do you help those rely more on who you know you are than who people think you are? Like, how do you instill that in the time when pride rises up and like I'm gonna crash out and show you like what soft really is? Like, how do you re-anchor yourself when it comes to living as a Christian man?
So there's two ways. One way is for the people that have a lot of supporting people around them.
Mm,
I have, and I told Tyree this the other day. I have a good three friends that I know if I call right now,
yeah,
they can tell me like 100 amazing things about me.
yeah,
And soft wouldn't be in one of those vocab words. And so that kind of made me rethink. Like, okay, everybody around you knows like that's not you.
yeah,
I'm not that, and they know that. These people know that, but they want to push your buttons.
hmm,
And so, okay, I'll leave it alone. And then the second way is if you don't have many people around you, I would say either rely on your faith or you have to seriously meditate and think about the type of person you are. I would say meditation is like key for sure. Um, Meditation is hard because it's hard to really sit with yourself a lot of times, especially with me. I know that I'm one of those people that like I hate to just sit there and think and be in my emotions
yeah,
for more than like 10 minutes.
mm,
And so if you are good at that, I would say sit with yourself. And if there's any time that you felt like you gave that impression off, like, okay, maybe I did show this person I was a little soft this day. Maybe I have to like toughen up a little bit.
yeah,
Toughen yourself up in a way that's not a retaliation type of way,
hmm,
but more of a, okay, people can respect me if I act this way now.
yeah.
I would say that.
And then understand that you have two things can be true at the same time,
Yeah.
right? A lot of times we confuse soft with having emotions, right? Because remember, Man Don't Cry, the last episode, we feel like we can't show emotions because if we show emotions, we're not a man. But the truest man can be both tender and hard, right? Because if you have a daughter, put it in this because I think men understand this more when it comes to dealing with the opposite sex. I'm not gonna be super hard to my daughter or super hard to my girlfriend or my significant other,
Right.
right? It's going to be time when I'm going to be tender. I'm going to be soft towards her. But if I don't know how to do that, then now I'm at a disadvantage when it comes to being in a supporting role um, to the opposite sex. Or if my homeboy is going through something, right? Like, and he's depressed about something, he's sad about something. In order for me to understand that, I have to tap into the tenderness of my personality. I can't just be like, hey, bro, get over it.
Right.
Like, you're a man, man up.
Right.
'Cause
There's gonna be some times where that has to happen, you know. Hey, bro, you've been crying for 3 weeks, bro. You got to get outside and touch some grass. But you know, in that moment,
in that moment, we have to be able to tap into those things. And I think that's the part of soft that we don't honor. Um, that dual things, two things can be true at the same time. Let's go back into the story during the season where we talked about your pride, making a decision that turned a blessing into a burden. During that season, how did your connection with God change? As in your prayers, your trust, or how close you felt to Him?
I would say in my prideful moments, I don't pray as much.
Yeah,
I start to, cause I when anger touches me,
yeah,
it consumes everything. It triumphs over everything, and so when I'm upset, it kind of pushes everything away from me because not only am I mad at whoever was making me mad, I'm mad at anybody who's gonna ask me about it now. I'm mad at anybody who heard about it
yeah.
and wasn't for me, and I'm mad at just everybody. And I feel like it's so hard to come out of that.
Mm,
Anger is one of the most it's one of the if not one of the hard if not the hardest emotion to come out of
yeah.
because you have to when you come out of anger, you basically have to admit defeat.
Mm,
You have to be like, okay, I'm not mad anymore.
yeah.
Why was I so mad? Why did I let this make me feel that way? You have to sit with
That's
yourself and you
good.
have to admit guilt right
Yeah,
there.
that's good. That's good. Interesting. That's an interesting perspective. When anger is over, you have to admit defeat. Um, something has to change in your perspective for your anger to subside. Uh, it's interesting that you look at it as defeat and not just a change of perspective.
Nah, I've been angry for years. I know myself.
Because I think about it like if I'm angry over someone hurting me, right, and I stop being angry, it's not that they didn't hurt me. It's just that that hurt no longer is to the magnitude that it affects me in an angry way, right? So it's a change of perspective, and it's a healing thing too.
Yeah,
Yeah. But like if I'm angry at somebody for doing something wrong and I stop being angry, it doesn't mean they didn't do something wrong.
right.
Like, no, you still did something wrong, but I realized that I've processed it in my feelings, and it's no longer worth me being angry about it. Because when I'm angry, I can't logically think.
I feel like when you put it in that terms of defeat or
Yeah,
like giving up, it kind of makes you think like, okay, not defeat in a way like,
yeah,
oh man, like
yeah,
I just defeat in a way like, okay, I lost my cool. I shouldn't have done that. Like my
yeah,
emotions need to be more intact so I don't
yeah,
turn out this way. Obviously, we're never gonna be perfect. Like
yeah, yeah,
we're always gonna get angry over something. Life is hard. We're not meant to be perfect.
yeah,
But when you put it in that term of defeat, it kind of makes you remember like, okay, I got upset. I did this wrong.
yeah.
But this person did wrong me in this way. So they're wrong too. But I could have reacted better. So that's
Your
kind of
response. You're
yeah.
thinking about your
hmm
response. That's interesting. I like that. All right. So, our favorite question: what would you tell a young king who loves God, but feels like he has to figure everything out on his own first?
Dear young king, don't rely on your own knowledge. It says that in the Bible somewhere. I can't tell you the verse right now. Don't rely on your own knowledge, but rely on the knowledge of God. Rely on your faith. A lot of the times for us, it's hard not to go off of emotions, and that's not for our young kings. That's for anybody in the world. Um, I would genuinely say just stay prayed up, stay humble, and stay in a mindset where other people can't touch you. You I want so I'm gonna put it in terms of imagery again because I'm
Yeah.
a big imagery person. I want the person behind the video to just imagine their aura just falling off of them. Like whatever color you think your aura is, imagine that. And imagine God putting that shield over you. Nobody can touch you in your emotions. Words can't come in because why is God gonna let that into you? You know, He has a shield over you. So imagine those words coming and blocking off. You know,
I am a phoenix, out of the ashes I rise. Wings may be torn, still I